Welcome back to another episode of the AA Sports Podcast. My name's Art, with my brother Alex.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Very depressing podcast for me. In this podcast we're gonna be talking about the big trade that happened. Some people won't think it's a big trade, but I think it's a big deal. Carson Wentz traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a conditional second and a third round pick. Let's just talk about the picks real quick because we need to get that out of the way. The Colts got a steal. Agree?
I agree.
A conditional second, which can turn into a first if Wentz plays 75% of the snaps, or plays 70% and the Colts make the playoffs. The Eagles will get a first round draft pick and a third round pick, which is mind blowing that a guy like Carson Wentz only commanded a conditional second and a third. Especially after what the Rams traded to get Matthew Stafford. I mean, Matthew Stafford was Goff and 2 first rounders, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you can't tell me Goff has a better career than Wentz.
Yeah, definitely not.
So I'm really confused there, which is, I'm at a loss for words when it comes to that. But anyways, Alex, Carson Wentz goes to the Colts. Initial thoughts. What was your first thought when this trade went down?
You know what? My thoughts were, I thought it was a good trade. I knew we were going to have to address the QB position. We lost Andrew Luck, which kind of a lot of people wrote us off after that. I wrote myself off after that. I was distraught. He was supposed to be our franchise quarterback for another 5-6 years from now, basically. And, Phillip Rivers retires. We got Phillip Rivers as on a 1-year contract, right? Fill in, see where we can get with him. I think this is a great trade. You know what? Carson Wentz is a young quarterback that's, he's of course he didn't have a good season. We all understand that. But to come by young quarterbacks in the NFL, I feel like it's very difficult. Deshaun Watson's going for four first rounders and McCaffrey. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And he's worth every penny.
I don't know if you want to go that route, but I wouldn't do it for four first rounders and you give up the best player on your team. I don't know about that one. That might be that's a big price to pay. Don't you think? I mean, am I the only one that thinks that?
Okay, maybe not 4 first rounders, but if you give up McCaffrey, I think
no, I'm saying
2 first rounders and McCaffrey is a fair deal.
Wow.
McCaffrey and 2 firsts for Deshaun Watson.
Okay,
because if you think about it in fantasy football terms, yeah, it's a bad trade. But in
no, but I'm not talking like fantasy football.
Yeah, just trying to win. I think the Panthers are going to win more games if they were to have Deshaun Watson than if they had Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, yeah, that's arguable.
Yeah, at least I think. You talked about the QB position. Andrew Luck retires. Jacoby Brissett's the starter for 1 season. And then Phillip Rivers comes in. Phillip Rivers ends up retiring. Where do you rank Carson Wentz in the Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, on that type of scale? Is he above Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett? Is he below Rivers, above Brissett, or below both?
Wait, say it again.
Where do you rank Wentz, with Rivers and Brissett? Rank those 3 quarterbacks: Wentz, Rivers, Brissett.
Well, are you saying in just my opinion, opinion, based on last season?
In your opinion.
In my opinion, I think he's about a notch above Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
Right now, I think Phillip Rivers was, if you're talking from an age standpoint, Phillip Rivers is up there in age. He was already on his way out. a lot of people wrote off Phillip Rivers when he got traded to us. This was a guy that just played for the Chargers the year before and was throwing picks left and right, and everybody was bashing the hell out of Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers limited his interceptions. He got us to the playoffs. People can say, "Oh, well, but your defense carried you, your running game carried you." That doesn't matter. You don't need one position can win you everything. You know what I mean? Like, look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback that's played in a long time, and I feel that we saw what just happened to him. Look at Tom Brady. He didn't have the greatest season, but you know what? He played good enough to where he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Had an MVP type season, right? What, 50 touchdowns?
Almost. I think he had 48.
48 touchdowns. And then he stinks it up in the divisional round, and now everybody's saying the hell with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this is just how it is. It's what have you done for me lately? And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. I think Carson Wentz, we don't need Carson Wentz to be a franchise quarterback. What we need is a Carson Wentz, take care of the damn ball, throw it to the damn receivers, and get us to where we need to be. Our defense, our running game, I feel like those are our strong points. We don't need Carson Wentz to be the franchise quarterback that he was with the Eagles. His first season in 2017. In the second season, I felt he had a really good season. Okay, in 2018, right?
No, his 2017 was his third year.
2017 was his third year?
Yeah.
Fuck. I thought he was younger than that.
Well, he's what, 27, 28?
Yeah, he's 27, 28.
Dude, he's got 10 years in front of him.
I hope so. I hope so for our sake. Because after that, I don't know what's going on. They're saying Brissett might be a free agent. I don't know what the deal is on that, but
I think Colts and people in general are overlooking Jacob Eason as a backup. I think he's a solid quarterback who learned 1 year under Phillip Rivers and now can learn under Carson Wentz, because say what you want about Carson Wentz, the guy put in work. 2017, he had that MVP type season where if he doesn't get hurt, he's the MVP. No questions asked. That year, the Eagles had a top 5 defense. Carson Wentz only threw for 28 touchdowns that season in 13 games. There was only 3 games left. So let's say he maxes out at like 33 touchdowns or so in those last 3 games. 33 touchdowns is not a high number, but we had a crazy running attack that was winning us games, a top 5 defense, and a special teams that was coming through. We had a kicker who could make kicks whenever we needed a kick. Mm-hmm. So in all 3 phases of the game, there was no pressure on Carson Wentz to have to be that MVP type player. Sure, he was that MVP type player, but he didn't need to, because our defense and our running game, our offensive line, everything was intact. Now you go back to 2 years ago, 2018, or 3 years ago, 2018, that season was a disaster because Wentz was coming off the ACL injury. He wasn't ready for the start of the season. Foles ends up starting the season. He goes 1-3, I believe, if I remember correctly. Wentz comes in and gets banged up. He ends up hurting his back and his ribs. Foles has to come in, and that's the year that we lost to the Saints in the playoffs. And then year after year, it seems like the Eagles didn't do anything to replenish. We lost some players, and nobody really came in to take those big time spots. Our defense was still good, but it was no longer that top 5 defense. Top 10, top 12, top 13 defense. Our offensive line started getting injured little by little. Our receivers were nowhere to be found. Zach Ertz just completely disappeared somehow. Don't know what happened to him. And little by little, you saw our team diminish, disintegrate, and the only thing left was Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz had to try to do everything. Now, we draft Miles Sanders, which I thought was a huge plus, until he's carrying the ball 14, 13, 15 times a game. Miles Sanders is a 20 carry a game talent, and him only carrying the ball 12, 13, 14 times and, us having no backup running back because we didn't, forced Carson Wentz to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game. Carson Wentz should not have had to throw the ball that much. And anybody who throws the ball that much eventually is going to get, worn out or going to get, too much pressure and is not going to be able to succeed. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That Buccaneers defense ate alive the Chiefs offensive line.
Right.
And Mahomes had nowhere to go, had no time, nothing. That's what happens when you don't have a solid offensive line. The Eagles had a bunch of offensive line injuries, and your receivers can't make plays.
Right.
How many drops did we see by Mahomes receivers, which is uncharacteristic? Kelsey never drops a ball, and he had a couple drops in the Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill couldn't get open to save his life. I mean, it was just a bad game for the Chiefs, and I think the Eagles were just in a bad downward spiral, and we still are. Now Carson Wentz goes from that mess of a team. As an Eagles fan, the Eagles are a mess right now of a team. He goes from that situation to the Indianapolis Colts, who have a top 10 defense. Some would argue top 5 because they are really good. A solid offensive line. You guys lost your left tackle, but you guys have time in the draft and free agency to try to make up for that and get a left tackle. Solid offensive line, young offensive line that'll be there for many years. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, great running backs. We've seen Carson Wentz be able to throw the ball to the running backs. So I think both Taylor and Hines are going to be great for him. A solid receiving core that is very young, good tight ends. And, you guys have one of the best kickers in the game in Blankenship. So I think Carson Wentz does not have to throw the ball 50 times a game, 40 times a game. But, Carson Wentz has, I don't know why, but Carson Wentz has this, reputation or this stigma on him that, he does too much and this and that. Well, now when he goes to Indianapolis, he's not going to have to do too much. And people are going to be like, well, Wentz got carried. Who cares if he got carried? It's a team sport. Wentz didn't do everything in 2017 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think it's a huge win for Carson Wentz.
Definitely. A point I want to touch up on is, you know what? Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, they're both a bunch of idiots. I'm sorry, but people need to go and look at that interview on ESPN First Take. Max Kellerman's over here saying that we overpaid for Carson Wentz. This is the same guy that said Tom Brady was getting old, and then they ended up beating the Chiefs. Dixon, Max Kellerman was great at analyzing, was great in some spots at, commentating boxing and things like that, but I've lost all respect for the guy. I really have. Stephen A. Smith is dumb as a doorknob as well. I mean, he was talking about the Colts. He actually said that the Carson Wentz trade was a good trade.
Great trade for the
But
Colts.
he was naming, he was saying that Marlon Mack was in the backfield. Marlon Mack in the backfield? Have you not seen Jonathan Taylor the entire season? This guy's a freaking idiot. I mean, it's ridiculous, Screw Max Kellerman, screw Stephen A. Smith. I'm done watching their stuff. It's ridiculous. People don't know what they're talking about. I think Carson Wentz landed in a good spot. I have faith in Chris Ballard. I have faith in Frank Reich. Although I didn't agree with some of his calls this season, it is what it is. Everybody makes mistakes. He's going to learn from them. And I am excited. I am excited because if there is any team that can rebuild Carson Wentz, it's us.
Yeah.
Because we gave Phillip Rivers another chance. Phillip Rivers, let me tell you, everybody wrote off Phillip Rivers. Everybody. This is a guy that was throwing interceptions left and right the season before he went to us. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're right.
He was throwing interceptions left and right. They did not give a rat's ass about the Chargers offensive line, not even blocking for him. They were letting guys just through. You know, they were saying, "Here's my quarterback. Go take him out." I don't like him anyway. You know what I mean? Listen, Carson Wentz was behind an offensive line for the Eagles that gave up 50 sacks last year, or this past year, right? 50 sacks. To the Colts is 19 sacks. 19 sacks. That's not even counting times under pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not counting times under pressure. That's just sacks in general. So, you know what? If anybody can rebuild Carson Wentz, it's going to be us. I feel like our team is a team that's able to rally around the quarterback. You know, I feel like we have Michael Pittman Jr., who's a very young, but I feel like he's a mature wide receiver.
Very mature.
You know what? He posted on his Twitter, he can't wait to get to work with Carson Wentz. Same when he got drafted. He said, I was listening to a couple of interviews from Chris Ballard, who is our GM, Frank Reich, and they said that they never seen a wide receiver get drafted, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth when he gets the call is, "Hey, do you have Phillip Rivers' number?" Because he wants to go over some of the plays with Phillip Rivers, wants to go over the playbook, go over the routes, things like that. Where do you see that from a first-year wide receiver?
Yep.
You know, T.Y. Hilton, who hadn't done anything the entire first 7 games of the season, I think, never lost patience.
Nope.
Never once complained. Never was a selfish guy. That's why, you know, I really hope that the Colts re-sign T.Y. Hilton. I've had a soft spot in my heart for T.Y. Hilton. You know what? This guy is one of the most underrated wide receivers I've ever seen. You know what? We have Paris Campbell as well, who's been injured. A lot of people forget about him because it's "what have you done for me lately?"
Yep.
That's just the name of the game all the time. I felt Paris Campbell's going to be a great addition when he comes back. I hope he comes back healthy. Zach Pascal, who's been stepping up. Our tight ends have been stepping up. And obviously our defense as well. Look at what we've been able to do with Xavier Rhodes. This is a guy who was released from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
Released.
Yeah, and he had a bad year in Minnesota.
A god-awful year in Minnesota.
Yep.
God-awful. So awful they released him. Tell me what we were able to do with a guy like Xavier Rhodes, who was released. Fucking awful season with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, he was a solid cornerback for you guys.
Oh, but still, the Colts are overpaying. The Colts this, the Colts that. I feel like our GM, our coaches know what they're doing. We address needs. We know how to draft. Last year when we drafted Michael Pittman, everybody knew we needed a wide receiver.
Yep.
Everybody knew that. I was praying to God that they didn't throw an Eagles and draft Jalen Hurts in the first round. I mean, I think that was the demise of you guys. Jalen Hurts in the first round. I mean,
second round.
Was it in the second round? Might as well have been the first. I mean, are you sure it was the first? Who'd you guys get in the first?
Jalen Reagor.
You guys didn't get Jalen Reagor in the first. He was a second round pick.
Reagor was the first round pick, and Hurts was the second round pick.
Are you positive?
Yes.
Are you willing? You might have to look that one up. I don't know.
Look it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me look it up. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Speaking of Jalen Hurts, let's talk about where the Eagles go from here. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is now the anointed starter, but you know, there's talks that the Eagles could take a quarterback in the first round. We have the number 6 pick. It is just a mess. If the Eagles take a quarterback, you know, I honestly do not know what this team is doing, what the plan is. It would just be really, really bad for the Eagles to take a quarterback. I feel like there's receivers out there, but there's also offensive linemen at number 6 that could be available. Solid linebacker. Parsons, I believe, will be there. Tight end. I mean, Goddard's a great tight end, but, you know, Pitts has been unbelievable in college. So, I mean, there's a lot of options. I think quarterback.
Jalen Reagor was a 21st overall.
Yeah, thank you. I think Jalen Hurts, if you're going to trade away Carson Wentz think you need to stick to Jalen Hurts and give the guy a chance. Don't draft a quarterback or don't waste or an early pick. If you take a quarterback in the 6th or 7th round, whatever. But if you're taking a quarterback at 6 overall, like that, there's no reason for it. Give Jalen Hurts somebody that he can use. Give the defense somebody that they can use to improve the team. A quarterback in the first round is not going to help. If Jalen Hurts, if the Eagles were confident enough in trading Carson Wentz and keeping Jalen Hurts, then they should go with Jalen Hurts and try to build around him. That being said, we have sucked in our last couple of drafts. I think Miles Sanders is our best draft pick in the last 3 or 4 years. So, hey, I mean,
talk about
not much else I could say. I mean, there's not much else to say. All our wide receivers that were playing last year were all undrafted free agents off of practice squads. Like how does that happen? I think we've had 2 Pro Bowlers in the last 8 years, and it was Jason Kelce and Carson Wentz that were drafted by the Eagles. That's it. How does that happen? But I mean, like I said, the Eagles need to either stick with Hurts and build around him, or if they're just going to go full rebuild, they need to just unload everybody, get rid of everybody, get rid of Hurts, get rid of everybody if that's what they're going to do. But I think they need to show some support for one of the quarterbacks, anybody, whoever they're going to pick, just pick them and go with them.
Hopefully it doesn't backfire on you guys like the Nick Foles. Remember when everybody was high on Nick Foles? Everybody was like, you know what? This guy is the guy that won the Super Bowl. This is the guy that, needs to go out and get paid. Yeah, he went out and got paid. Got destroyed in Jacksonville, right? He got hurt. He had a bunk season. He gets traded to the Bears where he's having to challenge Mitchell Trubisky for a starting job.
But look at what type of teams he's going to. He's going to Jacksonville, who's picking in the top 5 every single year. He's going to the Bears, who have no offensive line, and they have some offensive weapons, but no offensive line to protect. I mean, geez, Nick Foles can't do it all either. Exactly. He won the Super Bowl.
People don't look at that, though.
What did he win the Super Bowl with? The same top 5 defense that Carson Wentz had, the same probably best offensive line in football that year, and some solid weapons. That's what he had to win the Super Bowl. That's what you need to win a Super Bowl. I mean, Tom Brady, yes, he played great, but that defense is what helped them, throughout the playoffs. Brady didn't have a great playoff run. Sure, you could say, well, he beat Aaron Rodgers, he beat Drew Brees, he beat Patrick Mahomes, but that defense was beating all 3 of those guys, in every game. That defense was crazy good in the playoffs.
Right.
So, I mean, last thoughts on Carson Wentz, and where do you guys go in the draft now?
I think we're looking at a left tackle.
You said you were in the 20s?
Yeah, we were 21st.
Okay.
I think we're looking for a left tackle. I saw on social media on Instagram, we were talking to this guy he's a left tackle. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna address that position. Might go cornerback. I don't know yet. One thing I want to say about Carson Wentz, I'm glad he's a Colt right now. You know what? I feel like we have all the upside. It's definitely going to be a hit or miss, but I feel like we have all the upside in the trade. Mm-hmm. In Carson Wentz's defense, what year was it when he got hurt against the Seahawks in the playoffs? When he took that dirty hit from Jadeveon Clowney?
No, that was last season.
Was that last season?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that was
not this past season that just ended, but the season before.
Okay, the season before. What was that? 2019 or?
It was the playoffs were in 2020.
Okay, playoffs were in 2020. I felt like you guys were en route to beating the Seahawks that game because you guys were coming back. You guys were losing that game. You guys were coming back. Once Carson Wentz got injured, he took a dirty hit from Jadeveon Clowney, gave him a concussion. I thought that was just bad luck. I mean, everybody
Bad
was
hit.
talking about Wentz getting hurt in the playoffs and everything. It was a bad hit. I feel like it was a hit that didn't need to happen. But regardless, everybody overlooked it. I felt like you guys were en route to win it, to beating the Seahawks in that game. I really thought so. With a team that looked like the Seahawks had the better team, hands down. But look at what Carson Wentz was able to do. Once Carson Wentz got hurt, it went down the shitter. So I mean, all in all, I'm happy. I'm very curious to see what the GM coaches, what the coaches can do with Carson Wentz, and I feel like he's going to have a great home here.
He is. My last thoughts. I'll be rooting for Carson Wentz. Hopefully he does good with you guys. I always root for the Colts because, my brother's a Colts fan, so I'm always supporting his team. But at the same time, I am an Eagles fan. I will be supporting Jalen Hurts. I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater. I feel like Carson Wentz, needed another opportunity, needed to have the team built around him. And same thing with Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think, played great at the end of the season. But at the same time, you saw the rookie come out in him against Dallas and against Washington, where he did not look good. And a lot of it was because the offensive line was not good. A lot of injuries on the offensive line, offensive line depth. Like you can't do anything about that. You can't have 10 starters on the offensive line. You're gonna have your solid 5 starters. You'll have one good backup, but aside from that, you're trying to scrape together offensive line if you have more than 2 injuries. So, I mean, I think Hurts is a great player. Also, not a Hurts hater. I'll be fully supporting Hurts, but the Eagles need to make sure he's, 1, well protected, 2, and has the weapons around him to succeed in Philly. So,
and what's it gonna take for him to get the weapons around him? Like, do you guys need to get rid of Howie Roseman? Because you know what, there's a lot of people bashing him on YouTube. If people go on YouTube, there's a lot of Eagle fans that bash Howie Roseman. I've just about had it to hear with Howie Roseman. I mean, I feel like a lot of the things that's going on is due to him. I feel like the GM has a lot of say, and if he doesn't have a lot of say, I think that needs to change because there's something that's wrong. If you're drafting Jalen Hurts, I feel like that wasn't a need, really, unless they saw something else in Carson Wentz that they just. I feel like that says, you know what, we don't believe in you anymore.
Yeah,
I feel like there's something that's gonna happen, and we need to have a backup plan in case you get hurt or in case you just decide that it's over.
Yeah. Howie Roseman, let's remember when Chip Kelly took over, Howie Roseman.
Screw Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly played GM and everything else. Like, he got rid of LaShawn McCoy because he had the power to trade away players. He had the power to get who he wanted. And
I think he also released Deshaun Jackson, right?
Released Deshaun Jackson, traded away LaShawn McCoy. Unnecessarily. Unnecessarily.
He definitely didn't have to let go of Deshaun Jackson. That's the one that really got to me.
Yeah.
I was upset at that one.
Because Deshaun Jackson had some great years in Washington. And even with the Buccaneers, he had some good years. So after all that mess with Chip Kelly and, Chip Kelly leaves, Howie Roseman pretty much had to rebuild the whole team. And that's when we got, the Super Bowl team 2 years after Roseman came back. So, yes, he was able to build the Super Bowl roster. But since then, that roster has been fairly bad. The offensive linemen, for the most part, are there, but it's been really bad everywhere else. Our defense has not been as good. Not enough, players coming in. Too much faith in the older players that were there. Super Bowl season, sometimes you just got to move on. At the same time, our drafting has been terrible. If Howie Roseman is the one making the calls, Jalen Reagor doesn't look like a good call when a guy like Justin Jefferson gets picked right after him. So, it's just really Michael Pittman Jr. Had a better year than freaking Jalen Reagor, and Pittman was a whole round later. So I mean, it's really difficult to say, it's Roseman's fault or whatever. But if Roseman's the one making the calls, he should be held responsible for all this. But hey, that's upper management stuff, and it's hard to tell what's going on behind the scenes there because, I mean, there's talks of him not making certain draft picks, and Peterson had the call on certain draft picks, and I don't know. It's just a big mess that we don't have to get into. But like I said, if they're going to stick to Jalen Hurts, they need to build around Jalen Hurts. And if they're not, then we're going to have another quarterback drafted in the first round, and it's going to be all bad. So I don't like the outlook for the Eagles as of right now. I think the Colts got a steal in Carson Wentz and what they paid for him. And, looking forward to some more offseason news because there should be a lot of news this offseason.
What do you think about Carson Wentz as far as his I think on Instagram he had that he was a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Twitter. It was on
Twitter. Was it on Twitter? Did he take that off yet?
I don't know. I didn't go back and check.
I'm curious to see if he's going to make like a video or a post or something thanking, the city of or is it a city or the entire
city?
Entire Philadelphia, they kind of just turned their back on him. I mean,
yeah, they did.
There was a lot of tension. They were saying, get him the hell out of here.
The media was bad.
The media, everything going on. I wonder if that's going to, if that's something that's going to happen. Hopefully it does. I would never want a quarterback or really any player to, wherever they started to, be completely hated and just ran out of their, where they started. So hopefully that's something that can come out. Hopefully it can get put behind everybody. And, hopefully he's able to have a good season with us. And I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait till not this draft coming up, but the next year's draft when we find out if it's if the conditional second turns into a first and the person we draft is like, oh, that's who we got for Carson Wentz. I cannot wait for that because if it's a terrible player, it's just going to make everything worse. But yeah, any last thoughts?
No, I think we covered pretty much all of it.
Well, Carson Wentz, thank you very much for all your years in Philadelphia. I think you're a lot better than the media and a certain section of Eagles fans. I think we're a little too harsh on you, but thank you for pretty much. I'm gonna say it. Thank you for Super Bowl 52 because without you, I don't think that Super Bowl run happens. Yes, Foles, finished it, but 13-2, I think, or 11-2, I think that season. Amazing season. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the A Sports Podcast, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.